So good evening, welcome to the Donny Chain Gang. We're down here. My name's Matt Payne and I'm going to be bringing you all of the action. As you can see, our riders just starting to line up and you can just see them over on your screen over there. The other side of some of our fantastic sponsors who look after Downing Cycling, people like Grand Tour Coffee, HMT Hospitals. Of course, the guys at OT, got to say a big thank you to them. Kept me fueled up today, went out and rode the stage of the tour, went and did the RGV ride this time around. A couple of laps at that, absolutely eyeballs out, and realised they'd gone a bit too hard when I couldn't walk up the stairs. Such is life. Russ was on there, he got one of the sprints and was a long way in front of me. But Russ, as you can see, riding his Pinarello up on the screen and all ready to go. But we have a very special guest first of all. We're going to go across to him very shortly indeed. And this is a man that we know is going to be riding in with pretty much all the group all the way. We're going to see just how he's going to get on today, and going to do a little bit of tech here, and let's just make sure we get this sorted, and then we will be in with somebody who is a very quick man indeed on more than just two wheels. So let's go across to regular on the Donny Chain Gang to Mike Killingsworth. Mike, can you hear me?
Yes, Matt. Good evening.
Good evening. Good to see the setup is all ready to go down there. You're getting warmed up already, I see.
Yeah. Got to keep up with these young pups, haven't we?
Well, I don't. I just have to watch them, which is something which is good. So, for people who are not necessarily familiar, you've ridden the Donny Chain Gang for a fair way now, pretty much from the start, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think I missed the first couple of weeks, and then sort of signed up after that. Obviously, massive fan of the Downings, and opportunity to ride alongside them was, you couldn't miss it, could you really? Obviously, the Chain Gang being historic, not too far away from where I live, so ideal opportunity.
Yeah, and you're based over in Lincoln.
Yes, I am, mate, yeah.
And tell us, what you do in real life when you're not riding around chasing Russ in the virtual world?
Well, I'm a postman. Been a postman for 30 years. Well, 32. Obviously, work in the office now, so I'm not walking the street or pedaling the streets as I used to, which was great fun. So yeah, start at 4 o'clock in the morning, finish by sort of 1 o'clock. Have an afternoon nap like an old granddad, and then try and get on here if I can.
Yeah, less than the old granddad. So that must be pretty hard getting that transition across. But you're no stranger to doing weird and wonderful things, are you? Because we did give a little teaser on the Facebook page. You're also pretty famous or infamous for being out and riding on 3 wheels as well.
Yeah, well, I don't know about famous, but I have a good go, yeah. Sidecar passenger for the last 20 odd years. British Championship podiums. Never quite made it to the top, but maybe that's lack of enthusiasm on my part. I just enjoy riding. Yeah, from the TT for the last 18 years.
Yeah, I've seen some pictures of the TT, and in fact, you heading off from the start line on the TT in the red outfit.
Yeah.
Literally laid over the back wheel, because it's not like you've got a safety harness or anything, is it? It's literally you hanging on by your fingertips.
Yeah, some people think you're mad, but I think it's quite safe. It's, you ask the question why you're on a T-tray effectively, doing 160 miles an hour. Providing you've got a good driver, you're quite safe. But I've had my moments. It's a few walls along the way, but a few scars, but you survive, hopefully, and go back another gear. Obviously, not being able to go this year with everything that's happened, which is, terrible for everyone, but hopefully be back next year. Try my best, or try our best. I think we've been in the top 10 half a dozen times, and each time we've broke down, so hopefully one day the luck will come our way and we'll we'll get a decent finish with the bird.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess there's a need to stay fit and to stay as light as you can as well. Given that, I mean, I know the units are about what? They're about, is it 350 kilograms or a bit more?
About 250.
250.
They're a lot lighter nowadays. Obviously, they've got carbon fibre units, bodywork, platforms, airboxes. Obviously, being on the Donny chain gang, you don't be overweight. I've lost just over a stone in the last month, so I'm sure to bits for that.
Excellent.
The lighter you are, the better, really.
Yeah.
You've got the virtual brothers from Mansfield. They must weigh probably 8 stone each.
So you're constantly trying to get to them. Yeah, that might be a bit of a battle for most people, to be fair.
Definitely, mate. Yeah, definitely. Especially if you're knocking on 12 stone and your driver's knocking on 15. It's a big old battle, but you give it your best, don't you? And that's what counts, I think. Definitely.
Well, I'm glad to see that the chain gang's working. We're going to let you get warmed up properly, and we may well be jumping back across at CSO. Mike Killingsworth, sidecar passenger, very active passenger. Watch the videos. Go onto YouTube. Go have a look for the guys on three wheels. There's some absolutely great footage out there, and if you've not seen it live, you've got to get to the side, whether that's at Cadwell or out on the Isle of Man. So, Mike, good luck, and we'll catch up with you in a little bit.
Cheers, Matt.
Cheers, mate. So we're going to jump across from Mike and hopefully get in touch with Russ. This is going to be a minor miracle of technology if we can get this all stitched together in the time that we've got left. But let's see if we can have a quick chat with Russ and see if we're going to manage to get a phone call out of Russ before we go too far down the road. We don't want to disappear completely because we may well find that we run out of time out on the course, but we do have the advantage, of course, that this is a fairly regular course for us on the chain gang. So just going to try and get hold of Russ, which seems to be easier said than done at the moment for some reason. So we shall see if we can get back in touch with Russ. Here we go. Famous last words. This could be brilliant or disastrous. We'll see whether the tech works. Let's see how loud we can get Russ on the phone.
Hey up, mate.
Now then, Russ, how are you?
Alright, not bad.
We're going to. I'm just going to do a little bit of manual tech here because this is. We're going to try and get you as loud as we can. So, Russ, looks like we're going to be a couple of laps steady and regrouping. This is a tough course, isn't it?
Yeah, sure, mate. Yeah, just a bit of chat on the group there. We had a news the other day that Dougie Bond passed away earlier this week, and he's done a lot for the sport in the North Mids region and nationwide, really. So, all the lads are just asking if we can have this in memory of Doug, and it was in my head. So yeah, it's going to be going to have a little ride for Dougie there, who passed away I think a couple of days ago now.
Yeah, definitely. And I was lucky enough to meet Dougie on the podium at Sheffield Grand Prix a few years, but raced a few races that he'd been down and organised, and he was an absolute legend, and he loved tough racing, didn't he?
Yeah, he was one of the original guys who probably put Sheffield and racing in this area on the map. So yeah, we've got a lot to thank Doug for on and off the bike, really.
Definitely. Well, it'll be sadly missed, and I'm sure he would have enjoyed watching everybody out there and riding. I know time is ticking away for you, Russ, so I'm going to let you get the troops gathered and ready for this one. It's a tricky course to keep everybody together on, and we'll show everybody what's coming up.
Yeah, it should be good fun though. Cheers, Matt.
Cheers, mate. So Russ there, hopefully you could all hear him. Just a little bit faint today, but that could well be just that Russ is literally in the middle of nowhere. So we're going to dive across very quickly to the course. Now, as we go across towards the course, the Richmond World's course, used 2015, Peter Sagan's famous attack. We go from the very top, you can just see the dot diving up to the top of your screen. and then working its way down. Goes through the sprint. We come along through down the bottom of the course, along the riverside, then the first big cobble climb, the second sprinty climb, and then the run up to the finish. 3 climbs in all. It doesn't look much on the Zwift graphics there, so let's employ the power of the best people in the business, and let's go across to the Velo Viewer. Now this gives a much better indication. You run from the centre along the top of the plateau up to the top corner, and then start weaving way down. Now it's not totally flat on the way through there. There are some slight ups and downs, which if you've been on a ride is very, very interesting indeed. As our riders get underway, they're just starting. They're heading out on to the top of the plateau. You then dive down before the big climbs up, and that's where it's going to get really, really interesting. A 16-kilometre lap, and the leading is only literally half a K, and we just at the moment they're not quite through that point at the moment. So the riders do have to get this absolutely down. It's really, really essential to go on there. And remember, of course, today's ride we are remembering Dougie, who did so much for running the North Midlands and was one of the people instrumental in getting the downings up, riding and racing as well. So great to see him being remembered here today. So our riders are up and away already. We're going to take a little bit of a jump across. Let's have a look at the virtual Mike Killingsworth. And he's going to have a little bit of a look at Mike. So let's just jump up into the skies, and let's go have a little look at the guys actually out on the ride. So here we go. The ride underway. Our riders are heading off on to the course at the moment, and you can just see that group pretty much being held together. And looks to me like Tom Bowring, Ty Wolfenden up at the front here. Mike Killingsworth is in here. Let's have a little bit of a dive down on to Mike, and you'll just see Mike in here. We're just trying to get a shot of Mike. He's hiding in the bunch rather effectively at the minute. So let's see how he gets on as he heads off out and around. So here we go, Mike heading up to the front here. I've got the advantage of having a little picture of him in action at the moment, and looking relatively comfortable on his way through. You can see at the moment riding a very light bike, and he'll be doing that to get up the hills nice and easy. And that is the lightweight tarmac bike with some nice lightweight wheels in there as well. So the group rolling out and along. Looks like one rider getting some serious stick for going off down the road. I'm just going to have a little bit of a look up the group just to see who's up there as these riders continue to make their way in and through. So here we go, nice big pack on its way down of riders. Ty Wolfenden in this group, another motorsport legend as well, and riding on the speedway, just on his way back from a recovery. Paul Morton it is who's gone down the road. Well, Paul, you get some serious earache here. Paul, one of the Reagans on the chain gang. I think he's gone off a little bit quick. That's going to be a technical issue, I would have thought, for him to get that far down the road and then to be coming back. Paul, no threat overall when it comes to the finish, I think, on this course, because it is tough stuff. The graphics show you the hill, but you can see already the riders absolutely having along. 64 kilometres an hour at the moment, and they're heading off down. Looks like Cam is off the front as well, just trying to get in there. So the ride coming through very, very quick now, a -6%. They're dropping down here, and you can just see they are absolutely pinging along at the moment. So some really good riders diving in here. Looks like Rich Arrows in here, Luke Stone's in here, Trevor Crean's in here, Mark Thwaite's back again, one of our early sign-ups as well. And you can just see at the moment the riders coming weaving through. Still watching Mike Killingsworth go 308 watts, 88 revs per minute. So we're just going to go have a little bit of a hunt around some of these riders at the moment, and just see who is out and about. Let's jump across to our ride leader next, if we can dive into him, and that is of course Russ Downing. easier said than done when the riders are jumping about so fast in what is a very, very big group here. And some very familiar names in here as well, because you can see quite a lot of our youngsters are riding. Quite a few female riders in with the group as well. Looks like Jess Evans is in. Jess at the moment being a little bit smart, sitting at the back of the group here, and just having a little bit of a hide at the back of the group. Jess, one of the riders we know, is going to be right in there. You can just see, just sitting and by the back, just starting to work up towards the front now. But Jess about 2/3 of the way in this group. Red bike, white kits, grey side stripes. There we go, and that's Jess. And as we pan out and take a little bit of a look around, you can see most of this group pretty much all together. Now it looks like Amy Morn is in this group as well. Well, Amy, good to see Amy back again, pretty much becoming a regular, as well as Gail Phillips back on the chain. Looks like Tim Howcross back here again. Really is regular riders making the trip and riding in here. Andy Bishop riding. Looks like Keith Fox in here, John Smith in here, Imogen Wolf, one of our younger riders in this group as well. So let's see how Imogen is getting on. Let's see what power Imogen is putting out. 155, 156 watts, going up to nearly 200 watts. So we're going to take a little bit of a dive up and over the top, and Imogen riding pretty smoothly here in the yellow and black. So Imogen Wolf at the moment kicking out seriously high heart rate though. Some of our folks can't make it that high. That's 190 beats per minute at the moment. Nice high rev. So just over the 100 revs per minute. Looks like Gail Phillips pretty much alongside as well. Some of our regulars not making it to the chain gang, and need to say congratulations and happy anniversary to a couple of people. Andy Akers, who hasn't made it to the chain gang, and to Russ, who has. So congratulations guys. Slight difference in the number of years that they've been together, it has to be said, with Andy managing, I think it's 25 times as long as Russ so far, but Russ, I'm sure you'll have no problems getting to that kind of number as well. So congratulations guys, and happy anniversary. Russ, you must be mad. I know you were on here earlier when I was out and riding, but good to see everybody in. Now we've come around and dropped down by the side of the river. If you look at the map up at the top of the screen, you'll see our riders are making their way up towards the zigzag of the climbs, and as they come in, you can just see that banner is going to be coming up in front now. The group is aiming to get together, stay together on this climb. Not sure that is going to happen. We're going to sit with Imogen at the moment, Imogen Wolf, because I think Imogen's going to sit pretty much mid-pack, I would imagine, as we hit this climb. She's one of our lighter riders. The gradient is starting to increase, now at 5% here, and you can see this pack is pretty much all together. Nobody gone too far off the front. Let's take a little bit of a look backwards. Not too split up at the back. Looks like Mark Scatchard's in the group here, and he's just at the back. Mark is a very keen supporter of cycling, particularly around the Yorkshire area, and looked after lots of young riders on the way up to the top, including riders who've gone on to be world champions as well. It's good to see Mark in this group. Looks like Sam Emsley's made it back in again as well, and plenty of our riders back having another over up at the front. That group is starting to string out as the riders up on the front are going hard, and it looks to me like it's going to be Ty Woofenden who is going to be leading this group out. We're going to take a little look at Ty and see if we can get hold of that. Ty on the front, he's right up there, is Ty Woofenden. So let's give you a quick look at Ty. He's in here. He's got the trademark beard in the on the go. We're going to get above the cob also as these riders start to make their way round. They're going to be up and underneath that gantry. Dan Cogan getting himself right up there as well. Gelsort goes through. Now's the time when they're going to need to back it out, and Gelsort taking the King of the Mountains jersey at the moment. A 1:23.1. Ty Woofenden a 1:23. Dan Cogan not too far behind. and you can see at the moment those times are coming in thick and fast at the moment. We're going to have to roll down a little bit, I think, to find our first woman. I think it is going to be Kingdom, who is the first of the women of the climb there. We're going to see just how good this group is at getting back together again. If we take a look up the screen, you can see the riders are well and truly split, and it's about 15 seconds at the moment from Ty, who's right on the front, really backed it off here, and you see Ty and Dan just rolling around about 1 watt per kilo, just trying to hold everybody back up on the front. They don't want to go too hard here, but they're already diving down. If they stop pedaling, they end up in super tuck, and it speeds up as well. And they've got about nearly 30 seconds on the group with Dainty, along with McLean in the chasing group behind. Now we're going to see if we can get the group back together again. If we zoom off our 3D map and zoom right out, we've got riders pretty much from this climb, which the riders are on now, up at the front here, and you can just see they really have backed this up. And I think it's only going to be Robert Shaw at the moment who's giving it some beans, trying to get a quick time up this one. At the moment, the rest of the group taking it pretty steady and tight, just really slamming on the anchors at the moment. And you can see lots of riders streaming past. And just see Kingdom coming through. She is our women's leader. We're going to try and get right up to Kingdom as she goes flying up this climb. Here we go. So this is Kingdom, and you can see Kingdom on that Tron bike, putting it in the feather at the moment for the boost up the climb, reduces the effect of gravity on our riders. And Kingdom coming up and through, currently the third fastest time up 23rd Street. This is the next of our tough sections of the climb. And this is where everybody's backing on. You just see Robert Shaw's really slammed the anchors on. He's only at 1.3 watts per kilo. But this group is well and truly spread out. Our beacon, Russ, 2/3 of the way down the field at the moment. So we're going to get the guys back together, hopefully, as they go down. We're going to take a little bit of a hunt from the front, where Dan Cogan, Becky Kingdom are just trying to keep everybody together. Looks like Josh Kirkpatrick's up in there as well. Andy Bishop, Ryan Williams, not too far off that pace. Now let's see what the time gaps are from the very front back to the back of the group. Big pack holding at about 50 seconds at the moment. Looks like a chasing group at about 1 minute. We're going to drop back now. Let's see if we can bring you a little bit of that group, a little bit of the action. We're down with Martin Bolt, our fantastic sweeper beacon, with that red chevron up over his head. So just taking a look back. I don't think too many people behind Martin. Looks like Mr. Harrison of Tuxford is behind Martin Bolt, really the almost the last rider on the course at the moment. He has got about a minute up to the main pack. Looks like Andy Hawes at the moment just having a bit of a hard time because he's been distanced. We're going to move up from this group with Bolt, Johnson, Peacock in this group. Looks like they are trying to chase down the two riders in front. We're going to drop across to Jules. Now Jules is currently the rider just in front here. And if we watch Jules coming through, Jules is got Andy Hawes. Andy is about 3 seconds in front. Here's Andy. It's about 18 metres, and Jules is coming hard here at 4.2 watts per kilo there. So Jules trying to close down the gap there. You can see as they go underneath the bridge. Jules coming up alongside and passing Andy Hawes. So Horsey responding to that, kicking out 4 watts per kilo. So the guys are trying to respond to the pace of that bunch in front, currently sitting behind the main group by about 19 seconds, but there are quite a few riders now behind. Looks like Finney has been distanced. Finney has Ronnie in there. He's got Taylor in this group as well. This is the chasing group behind. They're currently 7 to 9 seconds, 9 seconds behind the main pack, with Bolt currently sitting, the chasing group sitting at 30 seconds down. So only 30 seconds from the back of the main pack back to our sweeper at the very rear. And we're just going to take a little bit of a look back up towards the front. Now Scott Harrison has got a power outage. That's why Scott has gone out of the back there. Just wondering why he'd been dissed, as we wondered how he was getting on. I suspect he can get himself back into the pack. We're going to have to take a little bit of a look. But great information coming in from one man who's missing tonight. Friend Chris from the Alliance MTB. Too busy getting tweaked back into position. And we're going to just take a drop back to Scott Harrison and just see how Scott's getting on. Not the most subtle kit in the world ever.com, it has to be said. In fact, I might just have to go get my Oakley shades for that. However, let's have a look. Oof, that is an off-bright. Nice Tron bike though, and nicely matching the kit there. Harrison closing that gap down now, got the gap down to 53 seconds to a bolt, and I think that is going to be a 1 minute 12 to the main group, and that main group hopefully sitting up a little bit. We're going to jump from there right up to the riders still just coming up towards the top of that climb. Currently with Mark Scratchard, Scratchard, one of the big supporters of cycling, and you can just see Scratchard starting to make his way up here in that orange jersey now. Nice bit of kit there. He's riding the Specialized S-Works on there. It's one of the lighter bikes on Zwift with the Zwift wheels in, but it's a pretty basic kit, so plenty of miles need to be put in by Mr. Scratchard to get himself maybe one of the quicker bike setups on there, or else obviously choosing his Pinarello that matches the one that he has in real life. Scratchard at the moment 1 second up on Luke Stone, and looks like Andy Hall is about 4 seconds down. Jules is about 5 seconds down. Let's see if we can get up above Mr. Scratchard. A couple of riders in front. Who is there behind? There are about 3 or 4 riders, and we would expect those to start to regroup. So you just see Luke Stone on the Tron bike behind, and he's got Andy Hawes basically on his wheel now. Hawes is going to just make a little move down the outside. So here we go. It looks like Ian Taylor is just in front. So we've got Ian Taylor, Mark Scratchard, Andy Hawes, Luke Stone. Got Jules not too far behind. Jules coming up here. And all these riders are going to regroup, and hopefully we're going to see a big group. So Andy just passing Mr. Scratchard. Now he's come Mark respond. Just try and jump on with this group. Luke will probably pull these guys back in as well. And Mark Scratchard just sticking around just over 200 watts as he goes. So we're going to jump up the road a little bit here to Barry Kipling. The living legend that is Barry Kipling is out and riding. Let's see if we can jump across from Mr. Donahue, who we've featured before, to Barry Kipling. The big question is, has Barry's hair on his avatar match him in real life? Oh yes, it does. Maybe a little bit more white needed for Barry. But Barry riding strongly here at the moment, kicking out 175 watts, 200 watts. Maybe he's listening in, you never know. But nice stuff from Mr. Kipling. So Mr. Kipling, let's drop him a big thumbs up there now that we've insulted him. Riding just with Donahue. They have currently got 8 seconds on Rodney and Finney. Then it's going to be the Hawes group behind, trying to chase down about 13 seconds in front. Mike Killingsworth, well, he's got company, and it's in the shape of Tim Howcroft. As we watch Mike on his way around and through. Let's see if we can jump back. I'm just taking a look at Mike. Don't want to go across too soon. So let's see if we can get a live interview. Ignore the graphics at the top. We're going to do a little bit of magic with that at the moment. So the wonders of digital means we can go just like that. And it looks like that is going to be our man. He is in there nicely. Let's see if we can get him to dive off on the microphone. He's working hard at the moment. And you can just see kicking out at the moment 230 watts. So as he goes down there, 91 at the moment, revs per minute, 166 beats per minute. And he's got Tim Howcroft for company there. So looking good at the moment on the way down. Certainly looking pretty smooth. We're just watching him make his way down here. And it's good to see sports stars of all areas of motorsport coming out and riding, and stars of plenty of different types of sport making their way to the Donny Chain Gang, and always good to see them out in action. Looks like we've got no Cal Crutchlow this time around, but we do have Ty Wolfenden in with us as well. Got some of our regular riders of 2 wheels as well, some very fast riders in here. So well, Andy Bishop's no slouch. Karl Kaplinski very, very quick all the time. Just looks like Mark Thwaites in this leading group at the moment. George Kirkpatrick in there. Looks like Andy Fraser is in the group. Cam Fraser in there. Simon Oxenham, always somebody to watch out for. Jess up with that leading group as well. That's Jess Evans, Becca Kingdom in there. Paul Morton is around about where Russ Danning is. And we've got Paul Oldham in the group as well. So let's take a little bit of a jump a little bit further up through the group. And let's see where Paul Oldham is. Let's dive back into the ride itself. And as you can see, they're just travelling along that lower section of the course. This group's fairly motoring along. They're still holding 3 watts per kilo here. And we're maybe going to just need to drop up a little bit higher to get a good view of the riders coming through Richmond. So as you can see, the course sort of weaves its way round. The riders moving very, very quickly on the way round, and we're going to drop up and above the guys. There's Paul Oldham currently holding the King of the Mountains jersey, and Paul's time for that climb a 1:23, I think it is going to be. As Paul Oldham was on his way through. Just going to take a little bit of a double check on the way through. Yeah, it's showing Paul holding that jersey, but Gelsop's got a 1:23, so just taking a little bit of a look through there. But Oldham with that King of the Mountains jersey on his back. Oldham, one of our fast riders, who's represented us at the Commonwealth Games. A multi-time national champion, a great cross rider, and very handy when it goes uphill. Now, he's certainly used to cobbles in Lancashire. The cobbles going to suit him here. He was right up near the front when we were seeing our riders go up to the top of the King of the Mountains. Remember, last Tuesday we were over at Innsbruck, where we saw a King of the Mountains after party up at the top of the hill. An absolutely brutal climb, as we see a Russ just moving his way up to the front here. I suspect we're going to just be watching it on to Russ having done one of the rides earlier on in the day on the new course. If you've not joined one of the Zwift rides, make sure you get on there. The Tour de France, virtual Tour de France coming into France, and some fantastic graphics, some fantastic courses there. And whilst we're talking about Zwift, we must say a massive thank you to the guys at Zwift, doing a fantastic job of keeping us on air and making sure that we've got all the processing power we need. A massive, massive thank you to them. Without them, it certainly wouldn't be possible to bring you the images that are just so clear on here. Don't forget, myself and Russ doing this to keep the community stitched together through what are difficult times, very little, if not any racing for pretty much anybody. Just starting to see a return of racing in real life, and 2 of the local stalwarts of the time trial scene, that's Adi Dench and Gail Phillips, putting together the Cockney Time Trial Series, and great to see so many riders having to start back where most of us started, to be honest. If you're of a certain age, which is riding club time trials up and down your local roads, up against your club mates. So our riders on the way up, watching Paul Oldham here kicking out 280 watts, only doing 70 revs per minute, 75 revs per minute, 136 beats per minute. Paul's old, but he's not that old, he's hardly ticking over at the moment. I think at 132 beats per minute. Paul is certainly capable of pushing that heart rate right up, as you hear the riders hitting the cobbles here. Fastest time was a 1:23. I think that is likely to remain. Just seeing 1 or 2 power-ups going in on this group. Russ making his way up and towards the front there in that JLT Condor strip. Our riders start to make their way. They're going to crest the top of the hill very, very shortly. Indeed, they're going to come around the left-hand turn any second here, and underneath the gantry, I think just seen Jess on her way in and through. Jess Evans going through. She's going to have taken the women's jersey. So this is the very front of the group, and this is where we're going to see if we're going to manage to get a regroup. Let's have a look at those time gaps on the road at the moment. The very front of the race, we've got Tom Barron, Dan Cogan Now they are right at the front. We're going to try and get right up with Dan, and then we can do some time checks backwards. And good to see Dan Cogan, he knows the score, 0.8 watts per kilo, and Mr. Bowring doing the same here. There are riders up on the front, and they've backed right off here to give everybody a chance to get back on. That's great work, and that's great to see. Now if we go back from them, the chasing group, the first of the big bunches, are currently about 25 seconds down on Cogan. The bunch then extends back, and it looks like we've got about 40 to 50 riders all sitting inside of 1 minute. After that then the gaps really do start to open up with Becca Kingdom, the rider currently sitting at the back. So the boys on the front are really backing off. One or two people giving it some beats up at the top of this climb. However, it looks to me like Cogan, who we're watching in the middle here, has really backed off. He's been absolutely blasted past here by plenty of the riders up on the climb here. And you can see Cogan now just pushing up the watts a little bit just to help close that gap back down again. So you can see this course. It is a tough course. It's a very hard one to keep control of a group of riders on. I've not been in many rides that have managed to stick together, but Cogan doing a great job with Bowring. I mean, they were backed off to about 0. Well, at one point I saw a 0.3 watts per kilo from the riders on the front, but as we come in around, we've got one more climb to go before they get up onto the top. And you can see the gradient here, just how steep this is when you look at the buildings directly across from down at the moment. You can see it's dropping down a 7% descent at the moment, and it is a very, very quick descent. They're going to come around the left hand turn, the gradient eases off, it levels off, and that group all just starting to ride along nice and smoothly. And then it's going to be up nice and steep. So a plea from Russ to pull the group back together. Looks like the main bunch really from the top of the climb to the descent. So only covering something around about 600 meters at the moment between the group. So let's have a little look. The riders just ticking along here. Dan Cogan sitting at 1.9 watts per kilo, but there are riders scattered all the way around the course. We're going to try and take a little bit of a look down the road. This is the front of the group, and it looks like they're just starting to sit up as they come up onto the climb. And Cogan 1.4 watts per kilo. Jess Evans is right up at the front of this group, just ticking her legs around here. We know Jess is capable of some serious watts per kilo, and at the moment Jess really has backed off the pace. One or two riders mobbing around the outside, and what happens is people get really twitchy. They don't want to lose a place, so they push on a little bit. Russ not too far from the front of this group. As you can see, if we take a little bit of a look behind the group, it's still a long string of riders behind this, and it is starting to break not too far behind our yellow jersey. So there's a fair sized bunch at the front, and pretty much everybody now heading in towards that right hand turn that was in that initial big bunch. And hopefully if the guys at the front just keep it backed off to the top of the climb to give everybody a chance to regroup, to push on. Plenty of power is being used behind as these riders fight to get back in touch. Ty Wolfenden just holding back at the back of that group. We know Ty's got the power to go up at the front. Paul Oldham sitting nicely in this group. It looks like Locke is in this group as well. Dainty sitting in with the main pack here. Everybody trying to keep it tight. We're going to see if everybody can hold it together. Well, it looks like Paul Morton not holding it together, not holding the bike together. Apparently his rear mech's falling off. I hope your motorbike mechanicing is better than that, particularly if you ever go out for a ride with Mr. Killingworth. And you can see it is starting to take its effect on the riders this course now. The blob is on its way, the big peloton just on that climb. If we take a bit of a spin round here, you can see Jess Evans just holding at the back of this group. and she's just holding this group together at 250. She's just sitting near the back here. Looks like Russ Downing and Gents is in here. Woodall just off the back, Reed just off the back. We're talking 3 or 4 seconds. They're not too far off for that group. So Cam Fraser just putting a plea in to knock the pace off at the front, to knock it back down again. There are plenty of rides where you can go out and race. The aim at the moment of the Donny Chain Gang is to get everybody riding groups, to get everybody improving in terms of speed, in terms of their ride. And as with any chain gangs, with the legendary Donny Chain Gang, how it works is it gets faster and faster towards the end. It looks like Russ getting dropped on 5.6 watts per kilo at the moment as he pushes on. He's now gone up to 8.1 to push himself up to the front. It's 2% grading at the moment. Aaron Russ just having a little bit of a sprint up towards the front here. I suspect he's going to be asking everybody to slow right down. At the moment, front to back, I think it is going to be about 30 seconds spread. Covers most of this group. About 10 seconds up to the front from Jess, and about 20 back to the very back of that. Lots of groups now starting to form behind. We'll drop back through those in a moment. It looks like some really good groups forming. Looks like Jules, Amy Morn, and Becca Kingdom, Mike Killingsworth, Vincent Donahue, John Finney, all in good group here. Ian Taylor, Trevor Crean, Carl Johnson in another. Carl Johnson's got company. Looks like Chris Peacock with him at the moment. Andy Hawes with living legend that is Barry Kipling, Tim Howcroft, Daniel Ferran's in that group, Rodney's in that group, and the groups is really working together. Andy, of course, very experienced rider and very good at marshalling the troops behind the leaders. Now, here we go, the riders starting to wind it up on the front. We're going to have a last blast back through before it goes absolutely mad. Let's drop back to Trevor Crean. Trevor, one of our regulars on the Chain Gang. He's on his way up the climb behind him. Carl Johnson and Peacock Harrison still working well. Currently sitting at 5.1 watts per kilo. Looks like Mark Scatchard just being distanced at the moment. Now, if we go up the road to Taylor, Taylor just being distanced, stay a little bit here. Let's see if we can take a look up in front of Taylor, because he has got some riders not too far away. So the group that is just in front, that's Donahue, Morn, Killingsworth, Finney, Kingdom, Kipling up there. This group's not too far off the back. If we take a look back, as we take a look back from our riders, let's see if we can take a look behind Mr. Donahue. How far back? Oh, that gap is opening up a little bit here. Taylor's now at 5 seconds in front of Donahue. It's going to be Taylor, but look at this. This is a really good group here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 riders in this group as they're coming up to the line. Looks like Mr. Killingsworth is in here as well. So this is the group as they come up to the line this time. Let's take a look now. You can just see Mike just taking a little bit of a breather as he's got back into the group, and Mike Killingsworth just paddling away there, just taking a little bit of a breather. He's working quite hard to get in, but now they're back in with this group. Are they going to get Donahue on the back? He's only at 2 seconds at the moment. Can he close that gap up to them? It's going to take a little bit of doing. And you can just see Killingsworth at the moment just hanging on the back of that group, just to holding it back a little bit. I think he's going to let Donahue get on the back. I think Taylor has gone. Rodney's in there. Kingdom is in there. Let's jump across and we're going to dive back into this group behind. This is what we want to see on the Chain Gang. So here we go. So let's take a little bit of a look here. So Kingdom in this group. We're going to spin right around here. Kingdom are riding in the SIS kit. They're looking like it pretty smooth. 90 revs a minute, 170, 180 beats per minute at the moment. At the moment, Becky Kingdom looking like she's comfortable in that group. Now let's take a look. Amy Morn's in this group as well. So let's just check, just make sure Amy looking comfortable as well. Yep. And Amy currently 64 revs per minute, and we know she's capable of much more than that. 135 watts, sitting in that slipstream of the group there, and it's a bigger old pack here at the moment. Now, Andy Horse should have his super lightweight avatar in, because Horsey has certainly improved during the course of a lockdown. A shadow of the man that I used to know on the Tour of Britain, and a shadow of the man because I think he shaved his beard off on his avatar. Horsey, come on, we know you've got more facial hair than that. So Andy will be marshalling the groups here. Tim Howcroft in here, Jules in here, Ferrand's in here, Finney's in here. Nice group here working together as they work the way down here. But it's a big jump then up to Edwards. So there we go. This is our chasing group. This is Edwards, Orrell and Coots in a group of 3 riders here on the way through. So it's Edwards, Coots and Orrell who are chasing the group. 26 seconds up in front is this group, which contains Andy Fraser. Looks like Reed's in this group, Stanleyland's in this group, and they're just making the way round towards the turn that takes you towards the climb. Up in front of them, I think Woodall just on their own at the moment, just taking a little check across. Yeah, Woodall on their own, and then it's going to be Genther who's on his way underneath that bridge. And then Gail Phillips at the moment, just being distanced now. Does she sit up and let the group catch up behind her? There's a few people starting to come in front. John Smith just off the back of the group here. This is this next group that's just being distanced by that leading pack. So Smitty out of the saddle is here. It looks like he's looking pretty comfortable, but he's got to pick that pace up. He doesn't want to let that gap go. Let's see where that group is. So Smith at the moment just being distanced, and I think it's Imogen Wolf. It is Imogen who's on the back of this group. So Imogen at the moment is the rider on the back of the group. She doesn't want to drop too far back. She could lose the wheel just because she's on the wrong split. There's some good company in here though. Jess Evans is in here, and look at this, you can just see Imogen Wolf is glued to the wheel, and Evans comes round now and goes on to the front of this group. So this is the Imogen Wolf group. Remember, Imogen, one of our really young riders. Ronca, Evans, Mark Thwaites in here. Mark, I was looking it up. We do qualify for Clydesdale class. 84 kilos plus gets you Clydesdale racing. And I know you're a little bit more than that. You might actually technically be Shire Horse. I did have a little bit of a check. I will go check those categories again. I did tell you I'd keep you updated, but we definitely can go race Clydesdale, you and me, mate. Not a problem at all. We definitely both hit the targets there. So Imogen at the moment, just on her way up that climb. That group is well and truly spread out. If we jump up, it looks like her being distanced here in front. Looks like Uncle Ted with the Tron bikes up there. Good to see him riding. Not so sure about the fishnet arm warmers, mate. It's not the best look. You said you were just saving those for me. Go on, get them off. So Ted on his way up. And going to take a little bit of a zoom out now, because this group are all well truly on the way up towards the top of the climb. Bishop climbing well here. Emsley just about holding the wheels. Hines in that group. Adi Dench is in this group as well. Look at this. Adi Dench is riding really strongly here at the moment. He's not too far behind Matt Manakee. So Manakee's not too far away. And this is a pretty big, as we just see the Lamagir go over the top there. The new Sheffield residents up on the northern moors, and good to see such wildlife here. Now watching 80 in this group, one of the team putting on the Cutney time trial once again, but this group is being distanced from the very front. You can see the beacon and Russ riding right up at the front. We're going to take a jump up and through now. Matt Manakee working hard, Ty Wolfenden working hard, but they've got about a 12-second gap. This is Peacock at the moment, and I think even Peacock is going to be struggling to stay with the yellow beacon of Russ. Russ with a bit between his teeth. They say don't poke the bear, and I think Russ has not just been poked, he's been poked with a fiery brown, because if we go up here you can just see Russ is absolutely hammering his way up this climb. He's not going to take any prisoners now. He knows that people have been going hard. He's got right up there. He's with Gelsthorpe at the moment. Downing at the moment pushing on hard here. He's currently 40th on 23rd Street in the time and climb, but he's going to come over the top first here. He's got Gelsthorpe with him. Dan Cogan, Paul Oldham is in there. It looks to me like the chasing group of Alan, Kirkpatrick, Dolby and Oxenham are now distance at 5 to 6 seconds, and we're going to try and stay with this group now as we run in towards the finish. We've got 25 to 26 kilometres in there, and it is absolutely smashed to pieces at the moment. 26k underneath Russ's wheels, and this is the group, and Paul Oldham using his immense weight that he doesn't have to lead down on the way down. So Russ improving on his time, moving up to second in the 23rd Street with Kirkpatrick at a 27.47. Our riders not contesting Broad Street or the sprint this way round. However, in terms of the King of the Mountains, you can just see the fastest time a 1:06.7, and it's our man from Horsepower Coaching leading that group out as he goes over. It's Mr. Cooling, then it's Gelsort, Cogan, Oldham and Downing on the King of the Mountains. They top five with Wade Roberts in 6th place, Kirkpatrick in 7th, Allen in 8th and Murphy in 9th place. And just trying to have a little scroll through, just see if we can get you the first of our women in the group on the way through there. And I suspect it is Jess Evans who has got that. We'll have to double check through a little bit later on. But the rider's now about to take that right hand turn. We're going to zip round through the concrete of the buildings, the magic of TV, or the magic of the virtual world of Zwift. The one's this fantastic platform for e-racing, and this is our leading group. So at the moment it is Wade Roberts who's just started to open it up with 6.8 watts per kilo. Russ now starting to push down. Kogan is pushing hard here as well, but this group near enough all together behind them. If we take a little bit of a look back, that is the chasing pack currently sitting at 6 seconds. And that is going to be Dolby, Peacock, Oxenham, Williams, Ryan Williams in there, Hall's in there, Locke's in there. They're not too far off the pace, but you can see this little group here, it is starting to fracture, and that's a dangerous move for the group to take at this stage. And remember, lots of these riders already having ridden today, and I saw Russ out on the French course, on the RGV course, part of the Discovery Rides on the virtual Tour de France. Russ at the moment on that Pinarello, fueled by the Grand Tour. Russ's avatar looking super smooth. If we just contrast that with the pain currently on Mike Illingworth's face, I don't think Mike's avatar is going to quite reflect the smoothness of Mr. Downing's avatar at the moment, that is for sure. So let's have a little bit of a look. It looks like Oldham is up the road now by some 13 seconds, 14 seconds up to the very front of this group as they go underneath the banner, and that gap has certainly opened up at the moment. Let's jump across to one of our leading riders. Let's go over to Paul here. So Oldham leading this group out at the moment. Now you can just see the rider from Hope Factory Racing has accompanied 3 riders with him. Wade Roberts, Kogan, Gelsthorpe and Oldham are leading 4 here. And these are the 4 that are going to take this through at the moment. They've got a gap of 19 seconds, nearly 20, in fact 21 seconds back to Russ Downing. The time checks on your screen, not quite reflective yet. 19 seconds, 20 seconds, there we go. The riders just have to get back onto the same section of course, and absolutely flying around here at the moment. So we're going to finish on the line next time. Let's see if these 4 are going to let the group behind come back. Well, with 22 seconds and ticking on, they're not pushing on particularly hard here. They're just doing 3.64 watts a kilo on the front, and the riders in the slipstream are about 2.5 to 3. However, the chasing group are not necessarily making all that much ground. It's like 2 or 3 riders just starting to break away behind. So let's flick across. Let's see who's on the chase here. It is Russ Downing along with Cooling, who are trying to get across. And Cooling it is who's got the king of the jersey. Here we go. Good to see the happy anniversary sign come up on the screen, and like our earlier wishes for you and for Andy Akers as well, both with your anniversaries on the same date as well. So these are our chasers, currently sitting at 29.29 seconds behind lightweights Paul Oldham, Dan Cogan, Mr. Gelsthorpe and Wade Roberts, who are all motoring on in front and almost down on to the very bottom of the hill. These are our chasing 2, currently sitting at 30 seconds down. 9 seconds behind we have Peacock, who has a company here from Dolby. So Peacock and Dolby, I mean, just about make out behind them the riders who are chasing. I don't think we're going to get a sight of Russ and Co in front. There they are, they're closing down there. They're at 6 seconds. Are they going to come and bolster Russ Downing and Cooling here? So Cooling, Downing, Dolby and Peacock could get together here. A group of 4 is more workable. They've more chance. It's then going to be 4 on 4. There'll be Cogan, Wade Roberts, Oldham and Gelsthorpe versus Downing, Cooling, Dolby and Peacock. If these two get back on, they've got to move it though. So Peacock and Dolby need to get on. They haven't got too long before the gap will open up too far in front. There's 28 seconds, in fact, in front of these 2 riders. They're working hard. They're currently at 5 watts, 5.3 watts per kilo. Now that gap's coming down. Here we are. They're going to make the catch, and Russ just asking them to get a wriggle on because they know they can't wait too long for these riders. The gap's not gone out though in front. In fact, if anything, it's come down to 26 seconds. So it's 4 on 4 at the moment. This is Group 2 on the road. Let's go back across Mark Scatchard. Our last man on the course is going to see the chasers behind, because this is the front of the race. These are our leading 4 riders coming through. Let's see if they can hold off the 4 behind. They currently have 22 seconds with the gap coming down. So it is Cooling, Gelsthorpe right up on the front, who are absolutely smashing along at the moment. They've got the company of Wade Roberts. They've got Dan Cogan in there as well. Nice bit of foliage there, cameraman. Thank you very much, mate. As the riders come out and pass now, they are being chased by the group behind, which contains Russ Downing. It's got Dolby in there, and it's going to be Peacock in there. Can they close that gap down? There's a big gap between them and the riders behind them. That is for sure. The gap currently sitting at 25 seconds. So a response has come from Oldham, from Wade Roberts, from Gelsthorpe, from Cogan. So we're going to just see who is going to be able to close that gap. Is anybody going to be able to get right up there? Helicopter shot showing these guys are doing the turns, but the man who's doing it seems to be doing most of the turns. That certainly looks to me like that is Oldham, who's doing more than his fair share of work, as Wade Roberts comes up on to the front now. So Wade Roberts, it is who's pushing on. The group behind are chasing hard. Let's drop back across at 21 seconds. This is the Downing group behind. You see Downing in that JLT Condor jersey, and they're trying to close the gap down. There's hardly anything to choose between them. 17 seconds is the gap behind them. 24 seconds the gap in front. These guys have to push. There are 2 more time climbs, 1 final climb up to the line to come. The big long cobble climb first, followed by the short sprint line. Behind it looks like Ryan Williams is trying to smash that group back up and in touch. He's working hard behind this drop back. This is group number 3. And you can see where that beacon is in front here. So we're currently with Ryan Williams, who's currently kicking out 300 watts here. And this is the chasing group, and it's a whole lot more than 4 in here. In fact, this is 9, if not 10 riders now. A real who's who, with Ryan Williams in here, Murphy's in here. Looks like McLean's in here, Dainty's in this group, Simonite's in here, Jono's in here, Lee Allen's in here. Matt Maneke is the rider chasing up 40 seconds behind them. But this is a group 3. Group 2, 12 seconds up the road to the Downing group here. And at the moment we're just with Russ. We're just going to take a little bit of a look. These are the 4 chasing riders. They're down to 17 seconds on the leading riders. On one man just starting to power clear. It's the man with the King of the Mountains jersey. It is going to be Cooling who's going for it here. So Cooling is trying to push on, but Gelsop is leading the lead group up here. Gelsop at the moment is going to be the man who's going to push the hardest round the corner. He comes up here riding that disc wheel. A definite disadvantage on the climbs, but a major advantage as you hit the flat and the downhill. And it's Gelsop who leads them through with Dana Kogan, Wade Roberts and Paul Oldham in a line in behind them. Now what is the gap back? It's they got this gap nailed. I think they have. It's 21 seconds now. 22 seconds back. This is the chasing group. It's split apart a little bit with Cooling currently 2 seconds clear of Downing, Peacock and Dolby. So the 4 have become 3 with 1 man sandwiched in the middle behind the group. Behind this group though, they're coming, and they are coming quick, because it is going to be a lock up here with Ryan Williams. It's Ryan Williams who's going to lead them up over the close. So it's Ryan Williams with a lock, then Murphy behind, and there are 11 seconds is group number 3 on the road. So group number 1, this is group number 1 on the road. Kogan, Oldham, Wade Roberts and Gelsthorpe. They are leading this race into the finish. To run into the finish, they're going to go up onto this absolutely brutal climb here. We're going to try and get up above them, and let's see if we can focus in, see who's going to go for this on here. It looks like all 4 of them are working hard here, but Gelsop kicking out 9.1 watts per kilo, 10 watts per kilo from Oldham and Kogan at the moment. They don't want to let this gap go, and it's Wade Roberts who's been distanced a little bit. We're going to try and zoom out far enough to see him. There he is, he's just behind. So it looks to me like Wade Roberts is the man who's just been distanced slightly as they come up and underneath the gantry. So as they go over the top, Kogan now starting to push on. Then Oldham. Then it is Wade Roberts who is currently hanging on the back. He's got company, and now though in the shape of Gelsop, and they need to push on. There's 1 more climb to go, a left and 2 rights to get them in there. Then you're going to see on the top right of your screen, behind the gap has gone. It's 37 seconds back to group number 2. This is the leader of group number 2 coming up over the top of the climb. Cooling, Dolby, Downing on their way through at the moment, and if we take it over to the camera shot, you just see this group is going to reform. They are currently now a minute down on the leaders, with Kogan continuing to push on at the front here. This is group number 1, and at the moment it looks to me like Kogan and Oldham have got the gap. It's now at 6 seconds to Gelsop and Wade Roberts, but this could all crumble. You can lose minutes as you go in and through into the finish. These guys won't want to give away anything at all. If we take a little bit of a look back behind our riders here, you can just see the chase is on behind, but they're not closing that gap down. It's now at 8 seconds now to Gelsop, 10 seconds to Wade Roberts, and the gap has gone. It's going to be between Paul Oldham here and Dan Kogan. These are the 2 riders who are going to be fighting it out. They've got very little distance now before they're on to the climb proper. It's already at 5%. They're going to take this right hand turn. They're closing in on Scatchard. He's got another lap to go yet. Here they come. They're going to go past Scatchard, past the lap rider. Kogan on the front at the moment. He's currently kicking out just under 6 watts per kilo. Paul Oldham on 7 watts per kilo, holding together at the moment. Who is it going to be? The Hope Factory Racing man with the polka dot jersey. Is it going to be Kogan who's going to take it? Let's take a little bit of a look back across. We can watch the 2 riders. They are very, very evenly matched. However, Oldham is at the moment who is just starting to open up the gap, but Kogan responds. You can just see behind the gap back is currently going to be to Gelsthorpe, at the moment, who is at 8 seconds. Wade Roberts as well. Truly Blind is at 24 seconds. And I think he's going to get caught by Locke. And I think we're going to see Wade Roberts getting past here. He's going to get spat out of the top 4. We're taking a little bit of a look down now on these two riders. They come around the left-hand turn. And this means that they are going to be able to see that gantry. It's just there in the distance. Oldham has a tiny gap at the moment on Kogan. Kogan's cast kick. 9 watts per kilo coming out of Kogan here. Can Kogan keep this nailed to the end? He goes on to the wheel. So is it going to be Kogan? Is it going to be Oldham? We're now watching Dan Kogan. Oldham is responding to this though. And there's nothing to choose. Here goes Kogan. He's just giving it a little kick. 9.4 watts per kilo. Oldham's responding with 10.6, 11.2. Can Oldham take him? He's going to get past him again, but there's still meters to go to this lane. They hit the 100 metre to go mark. And Paul Oldham, he's kicking away and he's going to take victory here. Paul Oldham takes the win here at the Donny Shagan for the Hope Factory Racing Team. Goes clear, and an absolute superb sprint there from Paul Oldham. Dan Kogan comes in taking second place. We're going to drop back to Gelsop. It's going to be a third place for Gelsop, who's going to come in on his own here. But behind him, I think it is going to be a real fight into the finish behind him. So Gelsop goes in and through the line. Let's get back to the sprint behind. This is going to be a tight one here. We're going to try and jump up above and around on these guys as they come into the finish. And it is going to be Locke who's going to get that 4th place, with Downing in 5th position. Cooling is going to take a 6th place. And I think it is going to be a 7th place for Wade Roberts. Ryan Williams should get 8th place. 8th place for Ryan Williams as he comes in across the line. Then it's going to be Hall taking 9th, Murphy taking 10th, and I think McLean in about 11th place now. Let's drop a little bit further back down. See these riders on the way in and through. Looks like Oxenham is going to be our next rider in towards the line. He's got a little bit of air between him and the rest of the riders. Fantastic riding up at the front of the Donny Chain Gang. Still plenty of people out there. Very, very fast last 2 laps as Russ is putting on there. We're watching Oxenham come in and through. Behind then it is going to be Simonite who comes in and through. He's just ahead of Lee Allen. Allen, our next rider, coming in. He's got about 7 seconds on Carl Kopinski. Kopinski is going to take the sprint just ahead of Bowering. And then it's going to be Bowering followed by Nelson and then Johnson. You see these riders all absolutely hammering in and through. Mr. West on his way into the line, so we're just dropping across a little bit further down, and that's quite simply so that we can make sure we can get these riders a little bit further down the climb at the moment on the way in. So I think Adi Dench on his way up towards the line, and just watching Adi make his way up the straight here. He is going to be leading into the next group of riders. So it's Adi Dench followed by Cass and West, who are just behind him on his way in. Don't forget, of course, good luck at the Cooking Time Trials, Mr. Dench. Hope it all goes super smoothly. Great to see racing returning post-COVID in the new world that is where we're at now. So let's drop a little bit further back. It's going to be Pritchard coming in front of Blackford. Blackford has a company though as he comes through in the shape of Andy Bishop behind him. Sorry, it's Hyde Manicky with him. Then it's going to be Andy Bishop. So Andy Bishop is going to come through now. Fred Gill in this group looks like Fraser from Known Sigma Sports in here. Fred Gill, and we're going to see the first of our women coming in and through, and that is going to be Jess Evans. So Jess, the first of the women across the line. Great riding by Jess on a hilly course just ahead of Ben Worth, and he comes through in front of John Hurt. Then it's going to be Fox. Let's have a look. It's going to be Emsley, our next rider in. So Emsley for the Cryogen team is going to come through to finish still nicely inside the hour. Then it's going to be Goddard coming through. He's got Thornley with him for company, and you can just see these riders cruising in across the line. It's going to be Uncle Ted next, using the drafting boost on his way in. He's just going to be in behind Thornley here. So Thornley in the Z jersey. Then it's going to be Ted followed by Pearson. So underneath the gantry they're going to go. Pearson goes through, then it's going to be George Kirkpatrick, a fast man. Kirkpatrick always good in a sprint. Not to be today. Then it's going to be Paul Morton. So as we see Morton currently just leading out OZK and Brown on the way towards the line to come across the finish line. So Paul Morton comes through. Hope that rear mech stayed in place, mate. So Paul comes through just in front of OZK. And Brown a bit further back. I think it's going to be Charlie Babbitt making his way along, and just coming past the entrance into the course. So he is going to be our next rider in and through. Then it's going to be Luke Taylor, who's going to be just in front of Johnny Ronker. These groups all absolutely blown to pieces here, as we just see Johnny Ronker just going around that turn on his way around the corner behind him. Mark Thwaites on the steepest section of the climb here. So Mark for the RAF Cycling Association, our next rider up the straight, and it could well be that Imogen Wolf is going to be the second woman over the line. Just taking a look at Imogen, kicking at 250 watts. Not too far in front of Gail Phillips, 30 seconds in front of Gail, so Gail not too far behind there. But it's a fantastic ride here by Imogen Wolf, who is looking super smooth on the way up there. Still keeping 100 revs per minute on the way up there. Just dropping down to 90 on this slightly steeper section at 8%. And currently it looks like Imogen just in front of John Smith. And then Gail Phillips as they chase on behind Imogen. So John only a little bit further down the course here. He's coming into that left hand turn, and John Smith from the out of the Saddle Club currently got a little bit of a gap in front of him to Imogen, who's just making her way up towards the line. Next up, Gail Phillips. Gail, as we said to AD, good luck with the Cutley Time Trial. Hope all runs smooth on roads familiar to most people who've been out and ridden the real Donny Chain Gang. And I want to say a massive thank you to everybody who's helped make the time trial happen, and of course everybody who's made the ride happen here. Big thank you to Swift, big thank you to all the Downey Cycling sponsors who have done the business once again. It's the guys from Grand Tour Coffee keeping me fueled up, Halo Wheels and Pinarello keeping Russ rolling on his Wahoo trainer. A big thank you, of course, to Mallorca Cycling. Already seeing plenty of people getting those rides in as well. I want to say a big thank you to all of our sponsors over the weeks who've kept things entertaining. And that is, of course, to the guys from the Badco Brewing, based up at Tockwith. And, of course, a massive thank you to all of our guys at OT, to Muck Off, to Halo Wheels for the spot prizes early on when we were just getting as many riders as we could get hold of to get actually on to the chain gang. So just watching Farrand go through. So Farrand looks like Coots, Howcroft, Rodney, Fraser, Hawes and Oral all in this group, all being led up towards the line. Let's take a little bit of a look up here. I'm going to take a little bit of a look back, just see if this group is going to manage to stay together. They are fairly strung out as they come in towards the line. It could well be it's going to make life a little bit easier for Genther and Ferrand. Genther just in front of Ferrand. Let's have a little look. He's pushing on, and I think Genther now at 4 seconds. That's going to be a big ask to pull that gap back, but Ferrand now at 3.8 watts per kilo. It shows you wherever you are in this ride on the Donny Chain Gang, there's always something to fight for. He's got to watch out behind him. That group is massing, but the time is running out for him to close the gap down as it is for Faradon Genther. So I think it's going to be Genther's going to take our next position in. Then it's going to be Farron behind him. I think it's going to be Coots, then Howcroft, Fraser. It's going to be Rodney and Hawes as these guys come in to the line here. So Genther coming in and across in the green, and then Farron followed by Coots, followed by Fraser, Tim Howcroft, and then it is going to be Rodney followed by Andy Hawes, along with Rich Orrell. Let's take a little bit of a look a bit further back down the course, just seeing coming across the line, Stanleyland and Donahue coming through. Barry Kipling coming through the line there to complete his ride on the Donny Chain Gang, just in front of Woodall. Woodall and Lightfoot together on the way up here. And it looks like these two going to be fighting it out for the line. Looks like Lightfoot just making a move in the green on Woodall, just going up on to the front. Are we going to see a sprint from these two riders, or is Lightfoot going to push on? He's got the watts per kilo. I think he's held it through the line. He has indeed now. Behind we've got Mr. Edwards, who's having a lonely ride on his own. He's 11 seconds in front of Finney and Morn, as well as Jules behind. We're going to drop back to those very shortly. So as Edwards from the Chevrolet Club, Richard Edwards makes his way through the line. Good riding, sir. When behind, we're going to drop back. This is the group behind. This is Amy Morn. It is John Finney and Jules from VC10 on the way towards the line here. Finney on the left hand side of your screen, probably just going to edge this as he goes underneath the gantry from Amy Morn, and then Jules behind him. Then it is Mike Killingsworth. So here is Mike in all his glory. This is Avatar Mike. Let's see if we can get back across. We're not going to get back across to him. I think the tech has failed us, so we're going to have to watch the virtual Mike Killingsworth on his way. And don't forget to Google Mike. Watch the YouTube videos. Watch these guys in action. It takes all sorts to ride the Donny Chain Gang, and good to see riders like Mike. We're going to catch up with Mike a little bit later on as we go through the summer and into the winter, see how he's progressing, already losing weight, already getting faster on the Donny Chain Gang, and that's what we want to see, riders progressing. It's not all about our superstar riders up at the front. Remember, lots of our riders come from a massive range of backgrounds. Some people just on the way back into fitness, some people like Russ at the tail end of their pro career now, helping other people get quicker, like all the guys, of course, at Daring Cycling. So as Mike Killingworth goes underneath the gantry, our next rider is a fair way down the hill. He's going to be Cootie, who's got Taylor not too far behind. So Alistair Cootie has got Ian Taylor, Scott Harrison, Carl Johnson, Trevor Crehan, Chris Peacock, Mark Scatchard, all behind him, all making the way in. And they're not going to be too far down, just taking a little bit of a look back. But Cootie is who we've got in our shot, another of our Chef Wreck riders, and great to see the Chef Wreck squad helping the team out and coming out on the Chain Gang. Possibly not the best choice of wheels on this course. Big deep zip 808's great if you're going to struggle with the speed on the fast sections. If the hills are what will get you, you want the lightest bike, even though it is a relatively flat course with just some short, sharp sprint type hills. Remember, the fastest bike for one person is not the fastest bike for everybody when it comes to riding on Zwift. Do your homework, guys. Make sure you test it out on this fantastic platform. Remember, the stars that indicate the performance qualities aren't actually the only way to look at it. If you go, you can actually go on to Zwift Insider, that fantastic resource, along with Velo Viewer and the Zwift Insiders, and they will tell you the drag coefficients. They'll tell you which of the bikes are fastest on which course. But remember, you've got to tune it. If, like me, you have no problems doing the downhills at 70, 80 k's per hour, but when it gets to the hills, it gets tricky. Make sure you go for a lighter wheel set. Make sure it helps you out, because that's where you're going to get dropped on something like this, particularly on a course like that. Not a problem on Thursday when we go across to the next course. That is the Greater London Flat on Thursday, and we'll see our groups coming in and through there. Now, a little bit further down the course, as Mike Killingsworth has finished, Mr. Taylor and Cootie not too far off the line. They're just approaching the last 500 metres. Coming in now with just under a K to go, it is Harrison on his way up. Sam Harrison, who had a technical dropout, we'd expect to see him a little bit further up. Definitely an experienced rider. Remember, to get that Tron bike, you have to have ascended well over 50,000 metres in the challenge. You just basically keep on going into the stratosphere to get that bike, and that means you put in some serious K's in there. Harrison from Tuxford on his way up. He's in front of Carl Johnson, another of our regular riders, and we're going to be looking forward to seeing him. Well, it looks like we have back in real life. Let's see if we can just drop across Mr. Takos across the line and just see Mike Killingsworth. Mike, can you hear us?
Yeah, Matt.
How was that? That looked pretty brutal.
He's going all right. It's about 25k now. I lost it on the line. I couldn't get back to the guys, and I've got to drop off a bit. The last cam before start to finish, I'm pretty quick up there. And you know as well as me, once you dropped, you can't. It's a bugger to get back. And I just decided to eat the pace and just go for the finish really. But I'm quite happy with the performance tonight. It was probably one of the best ones.
It certainly, yeah, it looked good. It looked really, really good, really strong. And I think you've probably got a few PBs on there as well.
You what, sorry, Matt?
I think you've probably got a few personal bests as well on the way through.
Oh, excellent, excellent. The group pulled me along. You know, that's what it's about, isn't it? Getting in a good group, trying to stick with the guys, and you know, you just improve every week. And that's the good thing about the Donny Chain Gang. It pulls everyone along. You know, no matter what your ability is or your performance. You know, week by week, I feel I'm getting stronger because of this, and it makes me get on. You know, any other sort of event, you probably sack it off if you feel a bit tired, but yeah, I'm really happy, Matt. So look forward to Thursday and see what happens there.
Yeah, going to be really interesting to see just how people change on the different courses and the different rides. But of course, plenty of early mornings before that for you. Have you got any action coming up in terms of the motorbike and on the sidecar? Is there going to be any racing this year?
Yeah, we've got Maui 1st and 2nd of August. That'll be our first meeting. And then we've got a couple of meetings. We've got an invitation meeting in October. And that'll be it for this year. And just try and build up for next year's TT. Hopefully get a full season in the British Championship and see how we go. You know, it's a struggle nowadays to try and keep at the front, but we'll try our best.
Well, we wish you all the best, and if the Donny Chain Gang's paid even a little part in keeping you fit on the way in, then we're going to be very happy about that. That's good. I'm sure we'll all be rooting for you. Let's catch up in a few weeks, and let's see how much quicker you're going, because you're definitely getting quicker, mate.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks for the invitation. Thank you,
No,
mate.
thank you very much. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, speak to you soon.
Cheers. So great to see Mike Killingworth in action there and riding very, very strongly. And well done to him for completing the ride today. We've still got one or two of our riders on the way in. And Mr. Peacock just heading in towards the line. He's just in front of Trevor Crehan, who's just making his way through. He's going to come in front of Mark Scatchard. As you can see, Mr. Peacock in and through the line, and Trevor Crehan is going to be our next rider in. It's been a really busy night tonight. It's been very, very fast. It's an absolutely brutal course. I love Richmond. I think it's one of the best courses out there. It's quickly being shadowed maybe by some of the courses in France, but maybe that's just because they're new. Maybe it's because I love riding in France. But the Richmond course never fails to disappoint, and it produced some very fast riding, some very quick times, and great to see Paul Oldham clearly on form. I can only wish I was commentating on the National Mountain Bike Series this season, because I think Paul would be sticking it to the riders again. Great to see the action. Remember, make sure you get yourselves out and riding. We've got Mark Scratchard on his way in to the finish. Mark, one of our newer riders on the Donny Chain Gang, and a relatively new rider to Zwift as well. And great to see he's still out and riding. I know Mark has helped so many riders over the years. They're all going to be rooting for him to get in to the finish, and no problems at all. As Mark comes around that lower turn, not too far before that final climb. So it's been a pleasure, as always, bringing you all of the action on the Donny Chain Gang. Remember, it doesn't start off as a race, it starts off as a ride, and we try and keep it together for everybody. We've got lots more great guests. I know that there are a few people already I've got lined up to introduce to you, who are real characters and really have got a different story to tell, and are all riding it for different reasons. So make sure that you tune in. We're going to try and kick off nice and early, which lets you get that feed in and get it live at about 1:45 on Thursday. So from me, Matt Payne, it's been an absolute pleasure. Remember, if you want to get in touch, Matt at Full Speed Events, Russ at Darren Cycling. But have a great couple of days. We'll catch up with you on Thursday.